Have you ever wondered if the Bible talks about something as exciting as the Olympics? Believe it or not, there are Bible verses that can inspire and motivate us in the same way that athletes strive for gold medals. One such verse is Philippians 4:13, which says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This powerful message reminds us that, just like athletes train hard to compete, we can achieve our goals with Jesus' help. Imagine Jesus as your personal coach, giving you the strength and courage to tackle any challenge, whether it's a big race or a tough school project. With His support, you can face any obstacle and keep pushing towards your best performance, just like the champions we cheer for in the Olympics. Verse Philippians 4:13. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This means that, with Jesus' help, we can do anything we need to do, even when it's really hard. Imagine having a best friend who is always there to help you, no matter what. When you're feeling scared about a big test, nervous about making new friends, or sad because something didn't go right, Jesus gives you the strength to face those challenges. It's like having a secret power that makes you brave and strong. Jesus loves us and wants to help us, so we can trust that He will give us the strength we need to get through tough times and do our best in everything we try. This verse reminds us that we're never alone, and we can always count on Jesus to help us. Verse 4, Timothy 4:8. Timothy 4:8 says, "For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come." This means that exercising and taking care of our bodies is important and good for us, like when we play sports, run, or do other physical activities to stay healthy. But even more important than that is living in a way that makes God happy, which is called godliness. Being godly means being kind, honest, loving, and trying to follow God's teachings. While exercise helps us feel good and stay strong now, living a godly life helps us in every part of our life now, and even after we die. So, while it's great to play and exercise, it's even more important to be a good person who loves and follows God. Verse James 1:12. James 1:12 says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him." This means that when we go through tough times and don't give up, God sees how strong and faithful we are. It's like when you're doing a hard puzzle or trying to learn something new, and you keep working at it even when it's difficult. God promises a special reward, called the crown of life, to people who stay strong and keep loving Him, no matter what challenges they face. So, when things get hard, remember that God is proud of you for sticking with it, and He has a wonderful reward waiting for you because you love Him and keep trying your best. Verse Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." This means that many people who loved God have come before us and are like cheerleaders watching us from the stands. They encourage us to do our best. To run our race well, we need to get rid of things that slow us down or trip us up, like bad habits or wrong choices. It's like when you're running a race at school and you need to drop your heavy backpack so you can run faster and not trip. God has a special path for each of us, and even when it's hard, we should keep going, just like a runner who doesn't stop until they reach the finish line. This verse reminds us to stay focused, keep trying our best, and remember that we're not alone. God and all those who came before us are cheering us on. Verse 1 Corinthians 9:27, 1 Corinthians 9:27 says, "I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. This means that Paul, who wrote this verse, works hard to keep himself in check and stay on the right path, just like an athlete trains really hard to win a race. Think about your favorite sports player. They practice a lot and follow the rules to stay in the game and be their best. Paul is saying that he wants to be careful and disciplined in how he lives, making good choices and following God's rules, so that he can be a good example for others. He doesn't want to tell people about Jesus and then not live the right way himself. This verse teaches us the importance of self-control and always trying our best to do what's right, just like training to be good at a sport or a game. Verse 1 through 3 Corinthians 9:25 report. Corinthians 9:25 says, "Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever." This means that athletes train very hard to win a prize, like a trophy or a medal, but those prizes don't last forever. They might get old or forgotten. Paul, who wrote this verse, is telling us that when we follow Jesus and live a good life, we are working for a special reward from God that will last forever. It's like when you practice a lot to win a race or a game at school. You want to do your best and get a ribbon or a prize. But the prize from God is even better because it never goes away. This verse reminds us that while it's great to work hard and win things here on earth, the best and most important reward is the one we get from living a life that makes God happy. Verse 4 students, Corinthians 9:24. 1 Corinthians 9:24 says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize." This means that in a race, everyone is trying their best to win, but only one person comes in first place and gets the prize. Paul, who wrote this verse, is telling us that we should live our lives like we're trying to win a race. We should try our best, follow God's rules, and not give up, just like runners in a race give it their all. It's like when you run in a race at school, you run as fast as you can because you want to do your best and maybe win a ribbon or a medal. Paul is saying that in life, we should work hard to be the best we can be for God, aiming for the special reward He has for us. This verse encourages us to always try our hardest and live in a way that makes God happy, so we can receive His wonderful prize in the end. Verse Isaiah 3:1-26. Isaiah 3:1-26 talks about a time when God is unhappy with the people of Jerusalem and Judah because they have been doing wrong things and not following His ways. God says that He will take away all the things they depend on, like food and water, and the strong leaders they look up to. This means that the people will struggle because they won't have the things they need or good leaders to help them. Instead, they will have young and inexperienced people leading them, which will cause even more problems. God is warning them that because they are doing bad things, like being mean to others and not listening to Him, they will face hard times. The women of Jerusalem, who were proud and liked to show off their fancy clothes and jewelry, will lose all their nice things and become sad and poor. This message is to help the people understand that they need to change their ways, be kind, and follow God's teachings if they want to have a good and happy life. It's a reminder that making good choices and listening to God is very important. Verse Philippians 4:13. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This means that with Jesus' help, we can handle any challenge that comes our way. Imagine Jesus as a super friend who gives us the strength and courage we need when we're feeling scared or unsure. Just like how superheroes have special powers, Jesus helps us feel brave and strong, no matter how tough things get. So when you're facing something hard, whether it's a big test at school, a tough game, or a scary situation, remember that Jesus is there with you. He's like a helping hand that makes you feel strong enough to keep trying and do your best.